Hey, happy Friday, everybody. How y'all doing? Turn down this noise here. Saf, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get another session on the book soon, I'm sure. It was a good time last night. Good to see you. For those who are also interested in getting back into regular sessions or just need to book a session one-off to figure something critical out or whatever, there is limited availability again. Hit me up through the website or on Discord or something. We'll get the ball rolling. It's Feedback Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Saf, welcome in. That one kid, welcome back, homie. Hope you've been doing all right. Sour Music, you as well. It's been a minute. August is here. Yo, 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 yo. And Tremy is here. Welcome in, homie. Good to see you, dude. Yeah, August. It's the best day of the week for just that one reason alone, right? Like, it's like having a really highly engaging personal radio station where you actually know all the different artists. So you're like really excited to see what they leveled up that week, or if they genre hopped, or they got a new toy to play with. You know what I mean? Saf, I know, it's fun, right? I fired it up for you. It's producing something really minimal in the mix, but hey, that's the best part of using it, is how can you get just a little touch of something in there to make all the difference, right? All right, we can jump right into it today. Joining you guys a little bit late. Was troubleshooting a little audio with Danny, who's going to be on later. I am Imaginate in the chat. Imaginate is dropping something new today, and also our friend Martin has dropped something new today. There's a link in the general chat feed on the Discord. Scruffy Rico, welcome in. What's up, Rich? How you doing, man? What kind of updates do I have for you? I've bounced a whole bunch of those suckbacks that we made this week, nearing the 100 mark, and they sound flippin' awesome. They sound absolutely great. That'll be finished by the end of the week, I bet. I think that's all I got for you guys in regards to updates. I think that next week I want to start building the first world. For those of you who haven't heard updates from me for a little while, I'm working on a rather extensive, hopefully long-running series that is incredibly open-ended, where I'll be creating a different world of sounds. Each world we explore in the galaxy or universe, if it gets that big, is very unique, standalone experience. So all of them will be highly thematic. So we'll be getting into some really, really awesome sound design stuff and hopefully push a bunch of boundaries together. Sour, I've been doing all right. It has been a long time. How have you been? What you been up to? Rich, what are you cooking? So the best part about this upcoming series, and I'll still be knocking out other products as we build each one of these, but the best part about it is that the content is going to be incredibly holistic across the board. So, there will be percussion and pads and drones and atmospheres and sound effects and different types of musical instruments that are unique to the world, or space station, right? Or space vehicle of some sort. Oh, Sour, I am looking forward to hearing something new from you. It's gonna be a good time. All right, so today's intro music is just a mashup of a couple of different things. I've got a really basic beat running out of EXO up here, and then I've got an instance of metaphysical function. And then I've got both the drums and metaphysical function running through some molecular. And I've got Screwwell and Space Drone generating a little bit of ambience in the background. That's it. For those that want to roll your own. All right. Let's see what people have been cooking up this week. I am here to hear it. Got to get a notepad out. All right. Where are we going here? Public feedback. Let's do this. August is first in line today. How about that? All right. I've had my sip of tea. Let's do this thing. Titanic from August. Gone after August.
Yeah. Yeah. Went in for a kiss and she clenched me her jaws. I can't take a break, I don't know how to pause. I feel you around me like you're living in my walls. Gave you everything, baby, I gave it my all, but you took it for granted. I don't understand it. Wake up in a panic like I'm on the Titanic. Took it for granted. I don't understand it. Wake up in a panic like I'm on the Titanic. Lighting candles in my house, she said it smells like I get anxious. I live with this pain, cause me and happiness are sanctions. All these boys below me, they keep biting at my ankles. If they don't kill me soon, I'll do it myself, I'm getting impatient. Not verbal in the club, cause I don't like to say shit. She taught me, then she hit the road, and that's why she amazing. Stay around these blues so much, call me August Franklin. Conversation with the bands like me and Ben related. She called my phone, coming over right now. Stealing her soul, now I'm digging her out. Won't answer no call, no text right now. I know why you mad, upset right now. And she clenched me in her jaws. I can't take a break, I don't know how to pause. I feel you around me like you're living in my walls. Gave you everything, baby, I gave it my all, but you took it for granted. I don't understand it. Wake up in a panic like I'm on the Titanic. Took it for granted. I don't understand it. Wake up in a panic like I'm on the Titanic.
This is good. Your vocal mix is solid. The presence is good. The tonality is good. It sits right up on top of the mix the entire time. My only beef with this mix, honestly, is that the swirling ambience, the little do 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 baloo baloo baloo, that thing in the background, and come down a fair bit, 5, 6, maybe 7 dB, and just kind of feel it out. But also, before you judge the level of that one, the sub, which is nice and creamy, by the way, I would move the cutoff on that EQ up to 50 hertz. It's just a little bit too boomy for the aesthetic of, the vocals and everything. And then after that, bring the level down 5 dB. You might want to bring it down another few dB. Just gonna have to use your judgment and make sure that neither one of these creeps up on those vocals. And that'll help keep the entire thing more balanced. I think everything else really sounds pretty darn nice. I think the loudness might be pushed just a little bit, but personal preference. Okay? Loudness to taste. Solid track. Good stuff. Might want to play a little bit around your transitions with layering. you know, you put a little whoosh or like a little cymbal swell or something like that somewhere. But oftentimes you can add another or maybe even two layers to a transition and really seal the deal. And those additions can be incredibly minimal, right? They can just be like surface dressing or what you already have in there, right? Something to kind of thicken one moment, add motion to the next moment. And then, of course, if you've got a little reverb on those transition effects, they kind of blend tail, which is always nice to hear the commingle. Ha ha ha. Rich, I would like to hear this. Yes. Sour is back, saying the mix is not ready yet, but would be great feedback as well. Still developing creative idea. Let's do this. Nice art here. All right. This is great. It's a really solid track. Live is here. Live is here. Great, you dropped a track. If give a shout when you're back, so we don't play it without you. Bionim. Absolutely. I want to hear some Italian Detroit rap. Drop it. Saxon horns are really cool, says Dragonleaf Beats. Dragonleaf Beats, welcome in. How you doing? Happy Friday to you. Designer Shoes says this is dope. I agree. Ruffy Rico says, ooh, I like this. Achevale? I'm sorry if I'm butchering this name. I almost said Avicii when I looked at it. I was like, whoa, man. I haven't said that name in a while. Dude, everybody loves this. This is great. I'm going to read through this really quick for you. Nate is here. Oh, man. Dude, drop something, will you? Want to hear what you're working on. Here we go, Sour. I think a small reversal at the start of the track, really small, really small. And I feel like the peak of it should maybe, like the ending transient of it should maybe actually hit like just a split second after um the big transient that jumps this whole thing off. At 15 seconds, slightly softer attack on the intro with that vocal. It's awesome to keep where it is at that attack level, but I feel like if it came in just a touch slower on that ramp up, I feel it would be a little bit nicer. 36 seconds, a touch less bright frequencies in the reverb. It's getting a little reflective up there and slightly distracting, so just kind of bring that down. You can make it really super gentle, like a 6 dB per octave curve, and just roll it down to like 2K, 4K, and see what that feels like to you, somewhere in there. And scoop a bit out of the mids in the reverb as well. It's a little on the bright side, the vocals, right? So maybe around like 1K or so, just to make a little bit more room for the vocal. Really nice transition moment at 102. 110, you can hear the drums are a bit hot, and the compression, I bring this up later, but the LUFS is hot on this. So just bring that down. I'm sure you probably smashed it to get it up to listening volume for us since it's not mixed, but really, really, really fantastic vibe. Really, really good movement, like the pumping, all of the ducking and compression feels pretty darn organic and fairly liquid. It's good stuff. And the palette is super tasty. Really, really well developed palette. I play with the attack and decay in just some really subtle modulation on that horn synth that you've got there. Maybe a touch more detuning here and there just for effect, like as a bend is happening or something. Really, really, really nice dynamic play here. I wish, though, that the LUFs were not as hot. So when you do bounce this down, make sure that you're not going past, like, I don't know, neg 14 maybe. Give us a chance to turn it up still just a little bit. This is a really fantastic track. This is really good. That's what honesty does for you, man. You're reading through and you're like, oh yeah, I can kind of feel that. Okay, yeah. uh, Leonum, no, we don't really do hops in line. We let people come and be served in the order that they're here, unless it's someone really long standing in the community. They've got something big happening that day or something. We try to keep it all fair. Although if you do sub, you get a boatload of free sounds and stuff. There, you just hit the subscriber rewards here. There's like over 500 cult classic movie dialogue samples that have been chopped and tossed in there. There's also from one of my other labels, Sound Freaks, there's the Dark Collection, which is a ton of like hundreds of dark drones and um, atmospheres and soundscapes and stuff on the cinematic side, right? Add a bunch of depth to your stuff. All right, Dragonleaf. Do this. This is some nice sky action here. Golden Monsoon. Oh, sorry, I just saw this question from Sour really quick. After master, what's the highest short-term LUFS you push it through? So integrated, like long-term, I would say I personally probably wouldn't push that track past like 15, 14, something like that, so people can still actually turn it up and feel really good about that. But in regards to the short-term peaks, like I maybe like a neg 12 or something like that. You don't really have anything in that track that needs to be higher than that. So just kind of remember that like all of that dynamic range that you're protecting is really about that valley floor moment and all the tingles and feels that you want associated with these massive drops, right? And the more distance in those drops, the more impactful it's going to be. So. Yeah, this is great, Dragonleaf. It's like a really nice, calming, lovely thing. I really enjoyed this. The ambience, all of the different timbres commingling, is really nice. I would say that the main kind of shimmery ambience, is too loud. It can come down. And I think that watching those highest frequencies is also good. Similar to the last track's advice, I would set up like a really gentle EQ, um, curve on the top and just bring all of those frequencies down a little bit. 6 dB per octave, um, curve, and like just super gentle. Like if we were to just pull one up here, it would look like this. Something like that, just to make the top end a little bit more creamy, right? You still get all of your highs. It's just going to tap down some of those frequencies that, when a lot of them add up together, you start teetering on pain points and resonance that, um, it can feel kind of squirrely, in different playback systems and whatnot. So just something to keep in mind. But bring it down several dB. Um, And whenever you have multiple things articulating quickly in the same kind of general frequency range, You kind of want to make sure that you've done due diligence and gone through and listened to each sound in a soloed state and then also in full context of the mix, trying to carve out a little bit of space out of one where the next one has its main frequencies focused, right? And vice versa, just to kind of help them all sit a little bit more cooperatively. Will Acrylic, welcome in. Watch low frequencies in the reverb channels as well as highs. There were a couple of spots that felt a little bit bright, but definitely watch the low frequencies. You don't want anything heavy and slow moving in the reverb. And watch mid-range buildup in the reverb as well. So you might want to scoop a bit out of a couple of your reverb channels, maybe around like 500 or so. The sub needs to come down several dB. It feels like it's a good 5, 6, maybe even 7 dB hot, and also set the cutoff to 50 hertz. Use a 12 dB per octave curve. That's going to make it jump a fair bit in perceived loudness, because when you cut out those sub frequencies, there's more power for the rest of the sound to really jump up. So that's what's going to happen. So you might even need to turn it down a little bit more after that. Really nice dreamy vibe. Vocals are a bit sharp here and there frequency wise. So again, use the really gentle top end cut. And don't be afraid to use a shelf. You know, I talk about using a shelf on the low end all the time, so you don't like kill the life force of certain sounds or whatever, but you know, use a shelf. You don't have to take every last little bit of detail and glimmer out of stuff here, right? You can just kind of create whatever kind of shape you need. And if you do find that there's something peaking around like 7K or something like that that deserves a little bit of sunshine, you just bring over an individual peak and, you know, don't make it too peaky, but you can help some frequencies come out there. Make your own shapes. All right. Dragonleaf Beats. This is close. This is close. I mean, I know that there's like a lot of writing here, but this is really close. Like these are not big things. This is a volume adjustment, you know, a couple of EQ things, another EQ thing, volume thing, that's it. That's like volume and EQ. You're very, very close. Got a really good sound. I call. This one is called Last Chance.
Oh, so many endless nights, speeding through red lights, living the high life. We were losing track of time, watching the street lights and never come on. Oh, all the things we did, we used to play for keeps. I never know you'd leave, I never thought you'd go, and now I'm down below. In another life, in another life, we'll see eye to eye. Was it even possible? Nothing lasts forever. We were meant for better. Stuck inside our protocol. No matter how much I would adjust, all our bridges turn to dust. You pick a different pace, and people change. You want a bigger stage, a better place. Still you should keep in mind, 'cause I see you every day. We got it all down, now it's all gone. But I look for us in another life,
Dude, McCall, this is great. It's got a really, really great vibe. It's got a lot of really good energy. I think, aside from just a little bit of volume mixing, which I honestly think is a two-part thing, but we'll get to that. I think the other thing that could really unlock this whole track is to kind of release the hold that you have on the pumping in the track, the sidechain compression. I would put different compressors on different tracks. I know it eats a little more CPU, but the reason is great, and the outcome is absolutely worth it. You can offset different parameters just slightly, make them more unique to the instruments themselves, and do not allow each sound to be ducked to the same extent, right? This is going to make everything feel way more organic and in the pocket, and it's going to be less kind of predictable. You know what I'm saying? But it's still going to have all of that groove and bounce. It's just going to be a little bit more groovy and a little bit more, uh, you know, just really, really solid work all the way around here. So the volume mix thing, I think it's two parts. One is that the LUFs are pretty hot here, so I'd back off the limiting on your track as a whole, right? So there's more dynamic range. It doesn't have to be an egregious change. It can be a minimal change here, but you do need to bring down that loudness a bit. And then instruments like the plucks, I would put just a slow moving, really subtle modulation on a couple of different things. Saturation, filter, and volume, right? So that way, over time, as you get through the different phrases in your arrangement, each time you get to the same point in those loops, you're hearing them just slightly differently, right? And it's also going to be a little less taxing on the listener having to focus on all of the things all at once. Maybe for several bars, those plucks will be up a bit more than the lead, right? And vice versa. Get a little bit of change in there. Everything else is really, really good. These are really minute things. Your mix is really solid, and your palette is really solid. And of course, all the composition is great. So, Liv, what's a compressor? Good question. You are welcome. You are welcome. You know, it's always good when the feedback vibes with you, and you can just be so concise, right? Olivia, what is a compressor? Something that's used a lot that oftentimes isn't even necessary. But they're fun. What else could we say about them? They're not very good on pizza. Well, I mean, I guess I'm making an assumption there. I just don't know that I'd want to bite into a compressor on a pizza. Designer shoes. This is you. The expert answer. It's a bunch of bullshit. Let's roll. Yo, okay, so designer shoes, here's the main thing is that your sub is kind of swallowing the rest of the mix. So there's a little bit better balance to be found here between those lowest frequencies and then the rest of everything else in like those low mids and mids. Because a lot of those things can actually come up in the mix and be a bit more upright and present because this is a really like aggressive profile, right? So all of those things need just a little bit stronger edge and character than they normally would in a mix, right? So to combat um, the complexities of keeping the bass exactly where it is and bringing all those other things up, is going to bring that sub cutoff up to 45 hertz and then bring that sub channel down. I'm saying 4 to 6 dB, maybe that's a little bit shy, like it might be a little bit more, but then put more emphasis on the other low and low mid range elements. And you do this through saturation, right? And you can even do this on the perks that were in there. Just more shine on all of those things. Saturation is going to create more harmonics, which means they're going to stand up in the mix a bit better. A good example is at 25 seconds. You can kind of feel the sub presence is bigger than what is audible in the synth, right? Not just like what is audible in the sub, but just the stuff that you can only feel is kind of dominating that. So we got to get those two things more evened out. And small transition effects around each one of these big hits, because that's a really big impactful thing when the sub just comes back in full force. So suddenly I would put a very small like suck back and maybe whoosh, kind of line them up together. Maybe even a really short range riser in there. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Acrylic, very nice, very nice. Danny, good to hear you got the mic sorted, homie. Got some coffee made. Designer shoes, solid stuff, homie. Samsung, orange ringtone. Coming in hot with the horns. How you doing, homie? Hope all is well for you over there. I have no idea what we're about to experience here. This one's called Pardon. And let's roll. Air horn, air horn, air horn.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
I'm doing all right, my friend.
You'd be like heaven to touch. I want to hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Pardon the way that I stare. There's nothing else to compare. The thought of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, then let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Damn it. It stops abruptly at 158 and it ends, and it stops and it ends, and it doesn't ever start again. That sucks. Samsung, you're awesome, dude. Oh man, that glassiest little chime action. Mm. Mm. The little touch on the sample on the vocals, and I feel like this Disco Nova. Yeah, this needs to be in Katamari right now. This is so freaking fun. Oh. If you were to pick one sound designy kind of thing to play with in that track, what do you think it would be? I'm trying to push you in the direction of the rabbit hole. Maybe you'll fall down. Double dropped with rhythm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, dude. I mean, it could be something really minimal at first, right? Could it just be like the triangle and you got like some granular delay on it, right? Instead of just a little bit of reverb, right? And it just starts there. That's all I'm saying. Some funky leads. Yeah. 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 Dead King, welcome in. Happy Friday, everybody. For those that were not here when I was saying happy Friday at the beginning of the show. Yeah, right, Liv. I know. We don't really offer much in the way of like mix feedback uh, to Samsung, and there's these small little mentions of, oh, sound design does sound pretty fun, and then I push a little bit, like, hey, I think maybe a little more sound design. Yeah, right, right. See, now you're feeling it. That chime bell, right? Little ambient synth stuff in there too. And it could be something really, really super simple, right? It could just be like a sine based thing, like two sine waves, two oscillators, detune just slightly, give them both a couple of voices, not too many. Maybe even add just a little bit of chorus to make it even more swirly, right? Reverberate, done. That's just tasty, man. Everybody's in a Friday mood now. Thank you. Man, can't believe it just stopped. Again. Always does this to us. Man. All right, this one's called Cryonic. Achevel? I feel like I'm butchering this name. Here we go. This one's Cryonic. Okay, that throbbing, resonant thing that just faded out there at the end, that big drone, that thing needs to come down several dB, and this whole thing starts to sound way better. And bring the cutoff on that drone up to about 60, 65 hertz with a 12 dB per octave curve, and it's just going to be like freaking butter with the sub. Okay. I would bring the subs down. I'd bring the subs down a good 5, 6 dB. Less sub frequencies in the kick. Watch the lowest frequencies in the reverb. I know I'm saying take out a lot of lows, but these are the lows that you don't hear, right? That energy is going to be redistributed. Right now, there's a lot of rumble, and the rumble isn't just the feeling of rumble, but it's running into all those other frequencies, and it's obfuscating it's taking away the clarity. And I think you can achieve a bit more, still have the same super dark vibe, and just have this all really, really, feel immersive, right? Like you're being swallowed by it, maybe more than immersive. I feel like falling into something is more like immersive. This is more like you're being eaten alive. Um, oh, and watch subs on the sides. If you want your sub to be impactful, you can't pull away from center, right? Because you're wanting to have kind of this laser focus with your subs, so it can fly out of the speaker cone, right? Take a look at the shape of the cone, right? You want your highs to be kind of on the outside, right? They're the lightest, nimble things. They're kind of shooting out on the sides of all the heavy stuff coming down the middle. That's kind of slow moving and heavy. So do those things. All of that low end wrangling, that low end management, and this whole thing, I think, just kind of opens way up. Yeah, I mean, this is gnarly. Yeah, Nate says it, man. He says you're on your way to becoming Will Ramos. Screams are great. Danny, I am imagining it says I would like to hear more dynamic range in the kick. Liv says we are against masking here, both sonically and autistically. Oh man. Okay. People are seriously hyped in the chat about this. I'm just rolling back up. This caught people's attention, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Liv, miss you, boo. You good over there? All right. Liv says hiya, but I drop one of the tunes I've been working on. That includes the cellist I've been working with. Also, these drums are from your 404 drums pack instrument, though. I repurposed them a bit. Fantastic, as it should be. Everybody miss Liv. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's listen to this thing. It's called Passion, too. Oh my gosh, that outro. Ah! Ah! That was a great way to end that thing. Biggest concern is the cello. You know, we're not going to be able to really truly tell until you bring it all up to the kind of the master level on this one. I say that because cello is one of those things that can kind of be deceptively uh, louder than you think it is, like once you actually bring stuff up. So I tend to do a bit of A/B testing, kind of moving between the different loudness profiles so I can hear it. If you are worried about it, but you do like where most of the peaks are, kind of play with the curve, the attack curve, like how the rate at which everything is being delivered, and see if maybe it could be like a performance thing. Hmm. That's Tom's job. Ah, lovely. Giving him lots of room to work with. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I really enjoy this. I want I want this. Maybe when you're done with this project, we could have you and Tom come on and you guys could talk. Yeah, it gives me the dopamines too. I think everyone, I mean, yeah. Look how much the chat simmered down. Everyone is like, holy heck. All right. That was just lovely. I just want to hear this mix now. Like I just yeah. Oh, master track. It's really nice. Yeah. Oh man, oof. And then right into a scruffy Rico track. My goodness. Needs arrangement rework and some layering and separation, etc. Hey, that's my job. This one's called Anonymous. This is great art, by the way. I miss you too, Lev. I miss you too, Lev. We all miss you. Be good to yourself over there. This is a great intro. Dude. Rich, this is awesome. I want you to collab with Will as well. Like there's so many things that's great about this. Super tasty. That was some really, really tasty soup. Mm. Mm. This intro is so completely different. I'm assuming that's because of the collab. But like all of the commingling of your sounds is natural. It's very, very organic feeling. Truly. It's fluid. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing bumping up against anything. And it's all felt, like every last little bit. A little bit more warmth on the kick, I think. Like on its own, it feels just a little bit on the thin side. The 303 is just killing me. It's just so good. It's just like the absolute perfect amount of resonance. It's just so good. I hope it's a touch less understated in the mix when it's mastered. But seriously, I feel like this collaboration must persist. It has to be more than just a track. It must be. It has to be. Else it's going to be more than one track. Yeah, there's a lot of little nuanced stuff in here. We've only just begun. That's fantastic. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. You guys are already hot and heavy. This is fantastic. Yeah, I've got nothing else on this one. I just want to hear where you take it all. Seriously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah! Not Chrome Hearts. Been busy this week. All right, we're gonna keep the queue open for a little bit longer. I'll make sure we get to everybody today. Nate the Sound Ninja says, backstory. I am co-producing my friend's hip-hop album. He's rapping and essentially structuring the beat. I added background stuff and wobbles and polished his stems. You don't have to listen to the full song since the vocals in this are all the same consistent volume throughout. Looking mostly for mix master vocal placement, feedback. If you have any off-putting instrument choices, I'm willing to see if my friend is cool with it. We agreed to a humble budget, so unfortunately I won't be able to do quantity fixes, variations, etc. This art, dude, is freaking wild. Wow. All right, this one's called Get Right. Featuring Honest.
time for this. I just wanna get right. Get right. I just wanna get right. Don't wanna fuss or fight all night. Just wanna get right. Where do we go from here? I guess nobody knows. Breaking down this shit like a bail out all 10 toes or to the ground. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm not perfect, not one bit, but better than yesterday in this bitch. Oh, I just feel like this when I seal my lips and listen to shit. That shift and switch from talking shit to all out, dropping a bomb in the mix. What's wrong with this? Yo, nothing at all. I came here to fall, I came here to rise, and ran to the call. So it's time I go, no time to stall. So let me go, I'ma be right back from a longer road. The plans we made will put on hold. I refuse to die before I close the show. Don't want the fame, don't want the gold. I just wanna break out from a comfort zone and this strong asshole. Mold my own clay, mold every last bit my own way. Riding on that which is my own wave, and on everything that I create. I can't relate to the bitch anymore, that bitch inside, that's waging war. There you go, yo, there's the door, and on the comeback if you wanna taste the floor. Cause I'm trying to find a way about this bitch I call my life. All this crying shit, no time for this, I just wanna get right. Get right. I just wanna get right. Don't wanna fuss or fight all night. Just wanna get right. Cause I'm trying to find a way about this bitch I call my life. All this crying shit, no time for this. I just wanna get right. Get right. I just wanna get right. Don't wanna fuss or fight all night. Just wanna get right. 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 Get right.
Yo, Nate, this is pretty solid, man. Here's what I got for you. I think the pad stabs could be a bit more charged, like a little electric sizzle over the top for a little surface texture. And you could even like you could possibly even just put in like an electric static kind of sample and just layer it in there. Just copy it across, but just like a tiny little bzz. I think that it would help it kind of stand up just a little bit more. Overall, there seems to be a little bit of like a low mid kind of focus on the mix. So I think that a little bit of time spent going through all of the tracks and making sure that there's no low and mid low frequencies present in the sounds where they're just not needed at all. Because something tells me that there's a few tracks in there that are kind of causing some bloat. And I think part of it is that piano, but we'll get to that down here. At 55 seconds, hearing maybe the vocals could be offset just a smidge more for greater separation, and then saturation on the vocals to help them stand up just a little bit more upright with a little bit more character. Just looking for a tiny bit of like swagger and sauce. It's got a little bit of a rigid kind of a feel, and I think that if they're slightly offset and we hear a little bit more texture on them, then I think it feels a little bit better. Transition effect at 139. Just for the simple fact of forward motion feeling, right? Just like a fairly quick pace, quick to open little whoosh, just like a little whoosh, like that. And you can sprinkle those in, and the more you use that, the more it adds to this kind of forward propelling kind of feel. It can be rhythmic, even if it's 16 bars between or whatever it ends up being. 159. These bass hits can be swelling larger with each hit with some saturation. So just put on something simple. It can even just be like transparent overdrive, but start down here and get up here by like the 8th one or whatever, because they start to come a little bit quicker, right? So they can get a little bit more definition. So they articulate just a little bit better and stand out just a little bit more by the last one. 226, transition effect again. 234, echoes on the vocal chant can be a bit more present here. In this moment, it's a bit more of a minimal mix in that spot. 245, a little less low frequencies in the reverb channel of that piano. And bring the wet down just a touch more from where it is in that wet-dry balance on that reverb. It just feels a little bit unnecessarily thick. 312, and use a shelf too. Don't just do it with a cut, right? So your low end will end up looking, on that reverb channel, it'll end up looking like, it'll probably be rolled up like, I don't know, somewhere in here, but then you can use a little shelf to kind of nudge just a little bit out, you know, take a little bit of the curve back here. But see what you could do about just kind of eliminating, up to 350, whatever. Yeah, don't be a savage, At 312, definitely double down on that transition. It seems like it might be the greatest opportunity for heavy emotional impact in the entire track. So I would double down on the transition. I would add maybe 2 more transition effects there. And make sure that as you're layering those things together, that only one has any kind of low end presence. I don't think the others are needed. Okay, just in general, your sustained elements, your pad drone can come down for better balance and more perspective on lead sounds. And then more volume automation just to kind of force a greater interplay between different elements as you move through the sections. So a little bit of volume work. And at 352 here in this section, I feel like it would be fun to hear some small embellishments to the delivery of that pulse, right? Subtle little stutter on one of them. Maybe there's just a little bit of glitch on one of them or something, right? Or maybe there's just one reversed out of the whole little string there. Just a couple tiny little things. 413, watch resonance parameters you sweep down to lower frequency. So if you got this filter sweep going down and your resonance is sitting at like 12%, just make sure it goes down before it gets to whatever, 300 or whatever. I think that's it. I think that's what I got for you on this one. It's been a minute since we were able to hear something that wasn't like game related from you, and that was fun. I'll put this in here for you. Appreciate you, homie. Oh, Danny, let's do this. I pulled up Zoom and I got a little distracted by the track, and let me pull Danny into this situation. Because I'm sure you guys would probably rather stare at his pretty face than my ugly mug. Put his face over here. Check, check, check. Danny released some new stuff today. Danny, can you put some links in the chat? And if someone could be so kind as to go to the general channel in the Discord, it'd be great if someone could just grab the link from Martin's release and share that in the chat for everyone as well, because we've had a couple of big releases today in the community. So, hey, there you are. Let me change this. In.
Oh, I sound really good, I think.
Yeah, I think you sound fine, man.
Dude, the Scarlet is pulling. It's coming through.
Nice,
it's coming
man.
Through.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. You should consider talking like like all the time to people. It's a good voice.
Oh man, maybe I should stream. I'll do like a Twitch stream where I just I read stories.
There you go.
And just total ASMR.
Right.
Maybe that'll be where I get famous.
I've actually thought about putting together a story time Twitch just to see what people did, where I sit there and I read like a bedtime story, but little do they know, as I'm reading the bedtime story, I'm also recording the audio of me reading the bedtime story. And then as soon as it ends, it goes back to the beginning of that audio and it just starts to get messed with, like in profound and psychedelic ways.
Yeah, the longer it goes on, the more distorted and twisted it becomes.
Yeah, right? It's just like, who knows who fell asleep to this thing? and
Yeah.
who knows what we are now doing to their subconscious.
That's
But I
right.
think it would be a really funny channel to stumble across.
That'd be really funny. Or like, it'd be kind of messed up, but like little jump scares at random points.
Yeah, man, bunch of stingers, bunch of
Yeah,
stingers.
just big
Yeah.
old string stingers or like ah.
Ah. uh, no, well, yeah, I've got the narrator voice. I've done quite a bit of voiceover and radio and stuff. It works.
Yeah, you really do, man. Like, no shade to like the other dudes, um, that I were at. Like, no shade to the good folks at Paramount, but you're the most pleasing to listen to.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. It is
Yeah.
nice that I can just roll up to a microphone and I don't need like an EQ or anything like that to make it sound a certain way. So
Mhm.
it probably helps because my voice doesn't really ever change on different platforms or whatever.
Sure, sure. You have a you have the oh, what's that program? The Sonar Works of Voices
Oh, snap.
or
Gosh.
whatever.
Golly gee. Dang. You released something new today, didn't you?
I sure did.
And you just
Um,
dropped, did you just drop links?
Let me do that right now. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to drop my website link followed by the song which just came out today.
Perfect.
So first of all, this is the website link. This is where you guys can check out all of my recent music, my sound design work. I've done several sample packs with Black Octopus Sounds. I did a couple with Loop Masters. I've been working pretty closely with Slate Digital as well on some presets for Anna 2. You can check out the work that I've released regarding that and learn a little bit more about me. And that's kind of all I got right now. But yeah, just pretty straightforward. And then this is the landing page for the song that came out called Presence with my good friend Ida Lovelace. We just put out a song last month as well called Defiance. And these are the two songs that we did together that made it onto my forthcoming album. And that album comes out. I wasn't sure if I was going to announce this, but it's going to come out next month.
Hey,
So yeah, I
this is
know,
happening.
exciting.
This is happening.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty stoked on that. I got all the stuff ready for that.
Flipping
Also,
finally.
too,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Finally is right.
Yeah.
And dude, thank you so much for all of the time that you gave me and like polishing it up and like just offering some really great feedback and beyond mixing and all that too. Like it was just good to get things ironed out and get an unbiased perspective. So
Absolutely,
thank you.
Tony. I am so absolutely freaking thrilled to see this thing finally getting out into the wild. And nice Iron Maiden shirt, by the way. That's
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
that's all
it's
I
pretty
represent.
awesome. My girl picked it out for me actually, which I'm pretty stoked on. And it's so funny. I totally got like that whole name 3 Iron Maiden songs like roll up by some by a dude at Trader Joe's like a few weeks ago. It's like name 3 Iron Maiden songs, and I said, well, I grew up listening to The Trooper. Peace of Mind is probably my favorite album, and Power Slave is a good second. And I'm just like rattling off like all these things.
He's
And
like, "Oh, sorry,
okay,
sorry, I'm a troll."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he admits he's like, "Well, I've never really listened to Iron Maiden before." And it's like, "Well, then why are you asking me, man? Like, you're the poser here."
Oh, snap.
Oh,
Oh, hey, speak of the devil, Martin's here.
Martin,
Martin,
what's up,
I don't know
dude?
if anyone has already posted the link from the general page, but if someone has not, Martin, you should drop a link for your release as well.
Yes, sir.
How is the madness around the move right now, Martin? It's a big, big thing here. Thank you, Acrylic. And I know you've been waiting patiently. We're going to listen to your track, Acrylic, and then we're going to listen to this new thing from Danny as well, and kind of pick his brain about what it's like putting together a really big album, getting it out after all this time, building up community.
Also, if I may just add one more thing
Yeah,
on
yeah,
really quickly on the sound design and sample pack tips.
yeah.
Just released one of the Element series packs, Air Anthemic Drum and Bass. This is fit for like liquid atmospheric drum and bass production. That pack just went live on Splice, and I'm dropping a link right now in the chat.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys are on Splice and you don't want to maybe buy a whole pack, or you're looking to get some really amazing atmospheres or other effects and things like that, check that out. There it is. It's really, really fun pack that I put together, and obviously all the downloads and all the love around it is massively appreciated and goes a long way.
Word. Yeah, all of that. What he said.
All of that,
All
yeah.
of that.
Point one,
Um,
two, and three. There you have it.
did I put this into thread for? Yes, I did. So I can go ahead and type in Acrylic's name here. And we are going to close the queue here. Everyone who's in the queue should be heard. We just got to stay focused.
Let's see.
So I've got a
And
session
this
at the end of this
is-
thing, and I actually have to be there for that. All
Hey,
right.
Chris, when you are just about to press play on it, I'm gonna press play too, so I can listen to it not from the stream, but like on my end.
Word. I'm
So it
going to
lines
press
up.
play. I'm going to
Okay,
press
me too.
play in 3, 2, 1. This one's called Disturbing Screams.
Ayo. Do this shit on one take. Ayo. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Yo, Acrylic, this was freaking nasty. Just wow, 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 wow. Loving the delivery of the bass. And you hear me say all the time, okay, you got to bring the low end up, you got to bring the low end down, it's like crushing the mix, whatever. But you've got the right kind of palette, the right kind of instrumentation working here for leaving a whole bunch of low end really intact. And it works. I like how you operate. I mean, the decay rate is just absolutely fantastic. I would suggest moving the low end cutoff up to about 40 hertz or so, 12 dB per octave curve. It feels like maybe it's around 30 right now. If you do that, it's just going to make it a little bit more nimble as it's articulating in the mix. And it's also probably going to feel a little bit louder. So you might need to bring it down just a touch after you roll up that low end. But honestly, I really like this kind of raw flavor that you're cooking right now.
Yeah, that was sick.
I was experimenting. I don't even know what kind of genre that is, some kind of dubstep. Well, that's great. That's great. When you don't have a name for it, you keep doing it. That's what I think anyway. Everyone else is already making the stuff with names. So I tend to make the stuff without names too. Yeah. Danny, what do you think of this one?
Dude, that was sick. I can hear that in in like an Alex Perez 1985 set, like in the I think he usually starts off those sets in that like kind of deeper dubsteppy,
Yeah.
dark and moody tribal atmosphere kind of vibe. And yeah, I like that a lot. As far as technical feedback, I don't really have any. I don't think there's anything that I thought was really worth pointing out. I think it's a done track. It sounds awesome, man.
Right?
I love that sound too. That like just Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
That kick drum is so massive. It's just like a dinosaur just
It is
stomping around the yard. It's awesome.
a mammoth. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, a mammoth. That's a better one. Yeah, a mammoth's a better visual. That's awesome, man. Yeah, nice job.
Yeah. Wow, 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 wow. That's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. Wow, 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 wow.
There was a couple more exciting womps in there. Like I guess I don't know if it was like FM stuff you got going on in there, like some of those FM synths, but there were some things that came in and out that were like really well placed. Yeah, you said it perfectly. Actually, the song palette was really tasteful. Everything fits.
Yeah, yeah, right? I mean, it all kind of operates the way that it should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Nicely
done.
Yeah.
Nicely done. And no, seriously, I think it's absolutely fantastic that you don't know what to call it and you don't know what it is and that you were just playing around, because that means that you're following your inspiration. That's the only freaking thing we're supposed to be doing in our
That's right.
business, right? Not sounding like anybody else. So good on you. And make more. That was freaking dope. That was
Yeah,
nice. And I love that you kept it really minimal, because less is more. And this is exactly why less is more, because everything has a chance to actually ring out and be heard fully. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm liking what Saf is saying in the chat too. All right, Eric, you're up next, but we're going to talk a little bit about Danny's album and give it a listen too. I need to scroll back up here, because you already put this up here for us.
Oh yeah, I got the landing page in there too, so there's like different ways you can stream it if you would prefer not to be on Spotify or something.
Oh, it's all good. Where's is it Presence?
Yeah, here I'll drop it in the chat right now for you, so you don't have to.
Oh, it's all
search
good.
Too much. Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Beat me to it.
Is it actually going to let me? That is.
Nice.
No, it's not. This is the problem. This is the only problem with OBS, is that it strips all of those things. Here, let me.
I have a
this
SoundCloud
elsewhere.
link as well if you'd like that.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Yeah, toss that in the chat, and I'll just hit.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the only really downside of sharing links in OBS. There we go. Thank you. Wow! 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 Oh my goodness. All right, this is called Presence. It's from our man Danny here. It goes by Imaginate. Collab with Ida Lovelace.
Trust in the night. Set aside the warning lights. Tell myself it'll be
Respect the gazelle.
alright. Trust in the night. Crossroad, nerves explode. unclear. In the moment, accept what's broken and your chosen.
Yo. Dude, it's such a good track. Hold on. Dude, seriously, man. It is good soup, right? It's so good to see other people using that phrase. This is fire. Danny, this is a fantastic thing. And Martin has something new today, too. This is like a great birthday present for me. You know what I mean? Like the two of you having stuff come out like this together is just like...
Just good timing.
I have stuff to listen to this weekend. It's freaking rad.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I've heard this track a whole bunch of times already, so I feel honored and all of that to already know this thing. But still, like, this thing still hits me really, really hard. It's a really, really good track. Really good track.
That means a lot, man. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but yeah, I'm glad you like it. And like I mentioned too, thanks for lending an ear on it. And I'm stoked that it's out. We're really proud of this one. This was one that kind of started the major transition for like where I was going in the artistic direction and or my style, I suppose, at the time. And yeah, I had an inkling on this one pretty early on, and I'm really, really pleased with the way that it shaped up. And
yeah,
having Ida on it too is just such a gift. So yeah,
her voice is just absolutely incredible. But the attention to detail in the mix and the presence, all the right frequencies. She's just like you can hear every breath in just the right way, and it's lovely, man. It's lovely. It's just such a well balanced piece of work.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I really wanted to like have Ida's voice obviously stick out because it's meant to be forward, but just there's so many little things that she does in her performance that needed moments to shine out, like some of the background ad libs that are more than just like background oohs and ahs, like just the little riffs that she does in this song, and she did very similar stuff in Defiance, were just like so well done and well placed and everything. So anyway,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're gonna dig into this more, but we're gonna listen to Eric first.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Eric, you all ready, man? This one,
Thank you.
Eric says it's a whip versus not finished recorded, and Tarantula.
Jeg har på meg chains for hun kaller meg for kriminell. Fucker ikke med lames, denne dritten holder han for deg selv. Liker bare pain, for det gamet har blitt saturert. Faen is a shame, som i biter deg som tarantella. Tarantella, 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 tarantella.
Oh, what just happened?
Brukt penger på en måned som jeg trenger more patience. Vrikker lillefinger, hele spillet bytter som en game switch. 5 år in the making, ventetiden over. Ikke lag noe lyd, fordi resten av de sover, baby. Dominant hun gjør det jeg ber om. Finner noen tøser, det er planen. Ligger i mine jeans, det er denim. Panama boys, og vi passer rundt og backward. Damer blir så giret at hun spør meg om noe backward. Wow.
All right, this is incredible. This is just incredible. At 1 minute, that cool little kind of soft attack push synth, I think it could use just a touch of granular delay to kind of widen it and add a little texture interest to it, make it stick around just a little bit longer. Maybe like a really small, a quick and subtle suck back right there at 206 for that transition, which is fantastic. This whole thing is just really dope. Love all the change ups. The claps feel just a touch distracting when they're panned all the way to the extreme ends, excuse me, of the stereo spectrum. So maybe just bring them in like 15% or so from where they're sitting right now. So it's a little bit more like this instead of kind of behind the ears. Would love a little variation on that open hi-hat. I really dig the vibe that it brings. And these keys are great. Although when that secondary riff, it sounds like it's about to go into a solo, but that riff is a bit hot. It feels a little bit overblown compared to what we had just heard. Kind of overdriven, and I think it can have a little bit of the lows removed because it felt a little bit boomy compared to the notes that we had just heard from the organ as well. Acrylic has a beat playing somewhere on his machine and he's confused as hell. Yeah, that happens to me. Eric, this is a freaking vibe. Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna put this in the notes here for you. I want to hear more from you, dude. I want to hear more from you. And we're about to bring the community challenges back online. Um, and yeah, man, you should be a part of that. Be around for that. That's some good stuff. Some good soup. Danny, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I got lost in that, honestly. I like the instrumentation. It's interesting and it keeps me like engaged, which is really cool. Again, I can't really think of like much technical feedback that already hasn't been mentioned.
Right.
As far as maybe like writing feedback, of course, this is all subjective and it's up to you. I would maybe blend the kind of that you have sections in between like the main instrumentations, like you have like the keys at the end, and then there's the vocal and some stuff in the intro. And I think if you had maybe similar instruments or just a way to like bridge everything together just a little bit more, then it would feel like more cohesive as an entire unit. But I do like the ideas, and I think a lot of people will, to be honest. So yeah, that's up to you. But personally, just maybe a little bit something to bridge things a little bit closer together.
More transition help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's change ups, when they're big and abrupt, they can be tough for some folks. I hear you. Yeah.
I thought that first one was really well done. Like
Mhm.
it definitely was like I'm going to use the word jarring. It's not the right word, but it was definitely very sudden and abrupt, but I think that that's kind of the point and that was really cool. But then when you get like the vocals that come in like midway through the track, and then you have that key like the organ at the end, something to bridge those two together and in between their respective arrangement positions might be really beneficial.
Yeah. Speaking of instrumentation and arrangement, making things work, um, once you had vocals um, in place or in hand, I should say, what kind of changes did you have to make to your arrangement?
To presence,
Yeah, yeah, to the track that we just listened to.
yeah. So it started off as a orchestral or like cinematic sounding piece, a lot of strings and all that. I'm trying to think of some changes. Some of the major changes were actually in the drums. The drums felt really weak up against like obviously the big orchestral sound, and then especially when Ida came in, she has such a powerful voice that I felt everything needed to match that energy or like be just below it so it didn't take away from her.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things, as the case is with many different styles of music, in my humble opinion, the drums. The drums are, I think, a really sort of missed thing in an arrangement. They can really make or break a track, not just from a technical point, but like in what they're doing, first of all, but then also like the tonality and quality of them. And so, actually, a fair majority of my time putting the track together was finding and creating the right drums to use for that tune. And I just came across what would end up being most of the drums on Duality, a hybrid between like drum programming and my own samples and all that, but with like really organic layers
Mm-hmm.
and not like just Foley things or whatever, but like very specific kinds of snares, like acoustic snares and
Yeah.
like real kits. So the drums were a big one. And then towards the end of production, it felt like that there needed to be a little bit more. There needed to be some other counter melodies going on to add a little bit more interest. And so in the intro there, that dun dun, or not the dun 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 dun, not that, but the dun 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 dun, that was
Mm-hmm.
thrown in towards the end
Mm.
to add a little bit more melodic contrast
Yeah,
against
yeah.
the intro art, and then also her vocals. And then yeah, I think that's about it. But yeah, it was just about like adding more groove in the drums, making them feel. Or, I'm gonna say it this way:
Mm.
making the track feel less like like a film piece or like a score piece
Mm.
and bringing it more into like a sort of like goth rock kind of vibe. I
Mhm.
wasn't really going for like a specific genre, but like I knew the kind of mood that I wanted to go for, and I think that goth stuff, like mid 2000s kind of like goth stuff, really uh, was a nice reference.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to a lot of that stuff, and so that's what just came to mind.
Yeah, man, that's some good insights in there. So basically, what I heard in all of that is that the drummer's the most important part of the band, and drummers are maybe the best people in the world, which is so
Yeah.
nice of you to say, really.
Well, that's why I'm here telling you
drummer.
that, because I
Yeah.
knew that I would just gas you up by saying that.
Hey, this is great. Danny's the best guest ever. He's the best guest ever. We should have him on every day.
That's right. Now, when I talk to my guitarist friends, the guitars are obviously the most important element.
Sorry, you're breaking up. Mighty Misk. Let's do this. Mighty Miscellaneous. Scumcat Trillionaire. Can I just say that that is a fantastic name?
Scumcat Trillionaire.
Seriously, Scumcat Trillionaire is like, that's some money right there. Like, be honest, when you came up with that one, you were like, oh, shit, write it down right now. Scumcat Trillionaire. Let's go.
This is time.
Oh my god, I love this.
Mighty Misk, let's do it. Mighty Misk, your favorite freak geek. Got my hands on a beat like a Ouija. Like SC, Ayo makes that sweet heat. We team up like Wario and Waluigi. Wake you out your deep sleep, break you out of Deep Creek. Make out with my sweet cheeks, baby, let's get deep. Running like a cold, cause I leak heat. Running in the road, meet me, a wily coyote. My style's peyote, I'm vibing to oldies. High, my whole brain is codeine and cocaine. Feel so pain, a cold train and Cobain. Code name, the kid next door, a dragon like Logain. Like can't kill, I'm gassed, I'm propane. A no name who grows on you like Rogaine. Fuck Joe Rogan, that slug I saw late. Call names out like a substitute teacher. Give me the loot if you want a cool feature. 50 years of hip-hop, DJs and monster beats. I'm here for the check. A bit appears a colonoscopy is in the cards to clear out that whack shit so you can hear the dopest act and they can get some traction. Believe in them, he's in Cleveland, winning evening, sipping while this girl's spinning off a weed pen. Hitting. Check it. Believe in him, he's in Cleveland, winning evening, sipping, leaving, getting, streaking for a weekend, teasing, isn't pleasing, guess it's even, bliss than leaving, miss, just kidding, bundling for snuggling, he's loving that cuddling, tucking on a pillow till I'm half asleep or puddling, a generous lover with venomous saliva, I'm going down, baby, I'm a deep sea diver, here to get the cheese breeze, she for her body, he's unexpected like a surprise party, unexpected like a baby crying on your porch, you're a wizard knocking on a shy door, let's go, Mighty Misk, your favorite freak geek, got my hands on a beat like a Ouija, like SC, Ayo makes that sweet heat, team up like Wario and Waluigi, wake you out your deep sleep, break you out of cheap creek, make out with my sweet cheeks, baby, let's get deep,
Can you go?
running like a cold cause I leak heat, running in the road, meet me.
Oh, dude, seriously, this is amazing.
Those samples were so good.
Mighty Misk, I want you to bring so much more of your stuff to us. There is so much play in all of this. Like, you are obviously having a lot of fun while you're doing this. I love the video game samples in there. Like, here's what I want. Like, I don't want many things changed. Like, I don't want you to go in there and feel like, oh man, I gotta change this. Because this is freaking fire. If it went out exactly like this would be a hit. But also, if there was just a little bit more play with what you're actually doing with the playful stuff that you're putting in there, I think it would be even cooler. So hear me out on this. Tiny little pitch bends on some of those little momentary sound effects that are coming out. The ones that are a little bit longer, like the dialogue, like you could actually play with speed and stuff, like playback speed, in very, very subtle ways. But yeah, like just a touch of play like that, I think, like a little bit of pan position variation in where those samples are placed as they're coming in rapid fire at the end there. So we're kind of like, whoa, wait, who said that? Wait, what? Right? You're like kind of moving around to stay up with it. I think it would feel really super satisfying at the end of a fun track like that. All right, so let's run through this. 23 seconds in, that resonance synth, I feel like it could use maybe just a little bit less high frequency and a little bit more reverb tail, so it's just a little bit more creamy. Love putting people on notice in here. This whole thing is just freaking great. Touch of saturation on the vocals and a little bit more separation between the main and backing vocals. So I'm talking just a little bit of difference in both hand position, right? And also timing. Like if you zoom way in on these regions, right, and grab that backing vocal and just bring it over just a hair to the right. So it follows that main vocal just a little bit behind. I feel like it's gonna create just a little bit more thickness, and I think it'd be really satisfying to hear that. It's really good. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, again, nothing that hasn't been said already. The one thing that stood out for me, like I thought the mix is really cool, and like the drum unhingedness, if that's even a word, was like really entertaining.
It is now.
Yeah, it is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the samples were too. So like the arrangement and all that, and like the music and all that's like really cool, really well done. I think the vocals could just use like a little bit more saturation, like you're saying. I wanted to hear like maybe not just like saturation on the vocal, like the main vocal itself, but maybe like a really saturated layer under the main vocal, just to give it a little bit more grit, maybe a little bit more teeth.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be it for me personally. But yeah, dude, that was a fun track to listen to, really.
Right?
Kind of reminded me of and I'm not making comparisons right now, so don't take me out of context here. But it kind of reminded me a little bit of the same. Well, I shouldn't say the same. Reminded me of A$AP Rock a little bit. Not A$AP Rocky, but like A$AP Rock.
Yeah.
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that kind of like really quirky whatever attitude, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It was just badass.
All over. Yeah, all over. Yeah, there were a couple of folks that were coming to mind, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a little bit of Deltron in there, right? Like I could feel like a few different things, and it ranged. It ranged. Like I was hearing some influences from like mid to late 90s, all the way through the some 2010 stuff. Yeah, man, there's just a lot of play in here. Just a lot of play. I'm digging
Great
it.
lyricism too. That's what made me think of A$AP Rock a lot, where like there's just little quirky or like quick one-liners that are just like, ooh.
Yeah,
you know,
a little bit of
nasty.
tuna in there too, you know? I don't know if you yeah, I felt a little tuna in there too. And I like I agree. I think the delivery was on point. Your cadence, the pace, all of it is just it's a joint, man. It's in the pocket.
A$AP Rock just released a new song today. Wow, it really is a big release day, it sounds like. I gotta check that out. He's one of my favorites.
Dude.
Hell yeah, Nate. Thanks for the heads up, dude.
Yeah, man, that's some legend material right there. All right, next one is Dead King.
Yeah.
No Case. Let's see what this one's all about.
It does say that they're here, but are they asleep or are they still with us?
Dead King. Are you here, Dead King? Dead King. Oh, Dead King is here. Yep. Appreciate you still being here.
All right. This is a lovely assault on the senses. I think that if you back off your limiting and get your luffs in line, you're great. Like this is pretty darn good. This is pretty darn good. So wait, Martin, are you over there saying that there's a knob that you can turn stuff up and down with? I could have been turning stuff down or up this whole time? Shit. Man, I should go to school. Dead King, I think this is great. I think that you're treading in some really fun territory. And I think that largely the only thing holding this thing back from like feeling like it is at its full potential is the limiting, is keeping it at that higher loudness level. If you were to bring that down a bit, it would feel less forced. It's already aggressive and in your face and full of all the as the old folks say, vim and vigor, or some shit like that. But seriously, like this is some good stuff. Like I would listen to this before walking into the gym or something. This is some pretty tasty stuff. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, coming from like dubstep or like bass music and all that, I love this. This is so sick, but like, and maybe it's just because like I'm streaming it over Discord. It's like a SoundCloud thing too, but like it's just too loud, like too compressed, in my humble opinion. I think that there's like a lot of cool things going on, and it sounds like there isn't enough space for all the cool things that are going on to like stand out and show off their coolness, because it's all just like noise.
You got big luffs, homie. Big luffs. What are you at? Like neg 6 luffs? I would aim for like neg 12 on this and see what it feels like.
You can still get like, you know, a pretty aggressive sound and be loud. It's just everything just feels wrangled in too much.
Mm-hmm.
By like some limiting or compression. So yeah, you'd probably get more bass if you backed off on that too, which like obviously bass is the second most important thing in dubstep. So
because drummers are number one. That's what we learned earlier in the stream. Is that drummers are actually number one. That's fantastic.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple years ago, and I was like, you know, what do you think's the most important part of like a dubstep track? And he's like the bass. I'm like, no, dude, it's the snare.
If it doesn't make you blink.
It's always the snare, dude. Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, no, this is such a cool track, dude. A lot of cool tonality going, a lot of cool like sound design. But yeah, it could definitely have more room to breathe.
Agreed. Nate's got another one here for if we have time. Valencia, are you still here? And Martin, what's the status on your track? Is your track one that we can play without a copyright hit or like a DMCA, or do we send people to like we just send people as an army to just go listen? I think you can, but you're not sure. Don't you dare get me in trouble, young man. Don't you dare. Because I kind of feel like we should probably listen to that as well. So let's listen to Valencia, and then let's listen to your track, Martin. And then it looks like Not Chrome Hearts. Not going to claim no worries. Oh, I don't think you would, dude. But you know, fat cats and glass houses. Or towers. What do I always say? Towers, right? Strings, Memphis, 140 BPM. Let's do this. Label does own the master, though.
Hey, Valencia.
Just a second here. Man, I cannot type. All right. There's that snare, by the way. We were just talking about that snare. There's that snare. Made me blink. 808, I'd bring the cutoff up to 40 hertz and probably leave it where it is. You might have to bring it down like 2 dB after you make that change because it's going to bump up in loudness. That little bend in the 808 is tasty, by the way. It's nice. I like that it's subtle. The strings could use a little humanization and saturation to help them stand up in the mix. And also, listen to 139. All of the elements that are playing right there in that moment at 139, each one of them can use a stronger sense of character and definition. They need a little bit more edge and a little bit more energy in the frequency spectrum. And you could do that with with saturation. And then it also needs more separation. Each of those characters need to be panned away from each other a little bit more. So spread them out in the stereo field. And that should help kind of keep the focus on the beat. And then my normal mention for you, which is a couple of transition sound effects. They don't all need to be in a point of transition in the arrangement, but they will add interest. So whether they be just little suckbacks or little whooshes, little things like that, just to keep things moving in all the right ways. That's it. That's it. Martin, what's that link? Everybody click that link that Martin just put in the chat. What's going on there? That's some good stuff. What do you think, Danny, on this one?
Yeah, I agree with the strings. I think a little bit more humanization for sure. And maybe a little less of the 808 at times. Like the 808, obviously, like, you know, this is that style of music that relies on the 808, and it's just one of the more important parts. But I think backing off on it a little bit and then creating more space for the other supporting melodic elements would be really beneficial to the overall track for sure. Because like I feel like the strings, they have that like emotional value that when you do throw a vocal over it, like they're gonna play well together. And if that's all being masked by like a really loud 808 kit, then it's just gonna like kind of be superfluous. And like, I don't know, you might want to play an experiment with allowing each to have its own space at like specific points, you know, especially when you have a lot of like melodic stuff going on. So like I think there's those like dotted strings. Yeah, like those are things that probably shouldn't be tucked away.
Yeah, I agree. Letting them kind of stand up a bit more in the mix. That was a good choice. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's listen to this thing that Martin dropped today, because he made some pretty cool stuff. And also, we got here, Not Chrome Hearts. Are you around? Because you're up next in the queue. Martin, it's here. This has happened.
I know that you're calling. I know that I'm falling slowly. I know it's a burden. I know that you're hurting for me. what you're doing, and I let it happen slowly. You can take what you need. I just wanna be free. Only
Hold on a second. Man, that autoplay. Acrylic, take care. Martin, this is so good. It's so good. It's so great to hear out in the wild. And yeah, it has come through here a bunch. It's absolutely worth all of the minutes. Absolutely. It's a fantastic track. Man. What day do you move, Martin? The fun part is you like the song. That's good. Well, I'm glad that you like the song. It would actually kind of suck if you didn't. Usually you hate your music. Oh no. Oh no.
See, that's the mark of a true artist, when you hate your stuff.
Yeah, see, I'm not Martin, so I get to love it. I'm not Roku, so I really enjoy his music as well.
Oh, yeah.
I get to
Roku
enjoy
and Martin
yours.
always bring the coolest stuff.
Oh, man. First part of the move is tomorrow. Man. Lift with your legs. Be good to
I
yourself.
thought it was with your back.
Lift with your back? First.
Sorry, bad joke, bad joke. Don't do that.
Oh, Roku
Lift
is a
with your head.
sensei. Roku is a sensei. I don't think Not Chrome Hearts is here. Lift with your neck. Everybody lift with your neck.
Mm-hmm.
The local Polish music guy. Now this, I'll tell you what. This is a handle.
Hey, Chris, I'm going to step away for a quick second.
You do what you got to do, man.
Relinquish myself of coffee. I'll be right back.
Got it. The local Polish music guy. This is a fantastic. Oh no. No. The elevator broke the day before you're scheduled to move. This reminds me of when I so I was moved out to the Bay Area several years ago to go and teach sound design and revamp curriculum and build a mentorship network and whatnot over at PeerMind. And we get there. We of course we have to secure the place. It's the Bay Area, right? It's awful. You cannot find a place to live. So we found a place to live before we got there, which is the only thing you can do, right? Set it all up, got all the amenities that we need for my wife. She was pregnant with our kid at the time, and we get there, and there was a bit of an incident on the freeway right before we arrived, where this truck that was hauling wood like dropped some lumber, and one of them got like flicked up by this giant truck and like slammed into the windshield of the car, and like all this stuff, right? We finally get there and we're like, let's just get inside the apartment and start to settle in. And we get there and they're like, oh gosh, there seems to be some kind of confusion here. It looks like we've got you up on the third floor. There's no elevators or anything, right? And it's like double flight. So it feels like 6 flights of stairs. And we're like looking at this giant truck and like the hundreds of miles that we've just driven. We're like, this is going to be freaking impossible. Right now, I am so exhausted. And having to go up all of those stairs right now. Oh, man. So where is your midway point? Where are you going to be for that week, Martin, before you move on to Germany? Mighty Misk. Yeah, it is a fantastic community, and you're part of it. So get your booty back here soon and bring us some more stuff, man. It was great. Really, really enjoy what you're making. Oh, Martin, you're on the 6th floor. At least you're going down from the 6th floor, right? Oh, man. Oof. All right, let's listen to whatever it is that the local Polish music guy has put up here. It's called 1,000 Faces. Work in progress. This was fun. The local Polish music guy. This is not what I was expecting to hear when I hit play. It is not. I was expecting to hear some, I don't know, some Polish music. I mean, I guess this could be Polish music, and I'm just unaware. It could have been made in Poland. Would make it Polish music, right?
Polish hardcore.
Polish hardcore.
Polish core.
Polcore.
Polcore.
Polcore. I don't know that the local Polish music guy is here with us right now, but I will just say, see, drummers are super important. That was fun. It woke me up. I am ready.
It took me back to yeah, definitely like the mid 2000s hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Like post hardcore kind of stuff. Chris, were you ever familiar with Job for a Cowboy?
Job for a Cowboy? No.
Ever heard of them? Oh,
no,
man.
That's a great name.
Yeah, dude, they're like at the pillar of, or they're like a defining pillar of like metalcore in the mid 2000s, and like kind of part of the scene. You know, you remember scene, right? Like that style of being, that culture. Yeah, they're kind of like at the middle of that, I would say. And what's crazy is they're actually from like a couple towns over here in Arizona.
Wow.
And I
small world.
Yeah. Anyway, it reminded me of that a little bit. That was a fun time.
Nice. Laz, yeah, you are here. So you are the local Polish music guy. This was a surprise. I did not expect to hear it when I pressed that button, and it was great. And yeah. I also really enjoy that there are some dynamics in this thing. As aggressive as it is, I like to see all those little peaks and valleys, that waveform there. This is fun. Do you normally make this kind of stuff? Because if so, I want to hear more. I do like energetic drums and loud guitars and stuff. The production is far from that beautiful 2005 album.
That massive like bass drop, like sub bass drop with like the impact on the breakdown is just
right?
So good.
Right? That's
just
some good stuff.
So just so effective. That's right. Big impact. Always, you gotta have that.
Always big impact. You guys, I got a session here in a bit, which reminds me, for those of you who have been waiting to get in and been hearing no from me for the past probably couple of years or so, there is some limited availability for training, so you can reach out via the website or DM me or whatever, and I'll get back to you. If you are subbed to the Twitch channel, don't forget to go and grab your subscriber rewards from the Discord. You'll find them over here once you sync your profiles together. There's a lot of stuff waiting for you there right now. Gigs of stuff that I should probably be swapping out soon. What else do I have to say? I I plan on being back on Monday. It's the birthday weekend, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I plan on seeing you guys on Monday, and I hope to be highly productive. Hey, Inspector back. What? We
Yo.
haven't seen you in a bit. How you doing? Happy Friday to you. Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got. Let's go find someone to raid. Let's go find someone to raid, because I need to go teach some people how to do some stuff and mix some things and do some stuff, you know. Noise stuff, noise related stuff. How do you talk about what you do for a living when people are talking to you like, oh, you're a producer?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
It's, dude, I don't even know what to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I make noise.
I make noise,
I
make
make
tunes.
That's all we do.
My albums, my album's been, it's been compared to the emotional and cultural impact of Dark Side of the Moon by Grammy people. So I don't know what to say.
You don't know what to say anymore. I hear you, dude. I hear you. Once you hear your stuff in so many different places and you're just like, dang, yep, mm-hmm. Yeah. We were walking through the store the other day and Nico was like, Papa, he's got your hoodie on. And we look at it, it's like this little OhmLab hoodie walking across the store, and like, yep, that happened again. He's had a few moments like that where he's had some OhmLab encounters and he's kind of lost his shit, but it's kind of
That's awesome, man. Wow.
Right.
That's really cool. Like, damn.
I think one of the first times that I was really caught off guard hearing my stuff was in when I was living in Southeast Asia, and I heard a couple of different tracks of mine, and they were being used on the big Asian television network, the One Network, I think it is, or something like that. Anyway, it spans a few countries. Anyway, it wasn't that my stuff was being heard; it's that the watermarks were still on it. They hadn't actually they hadn't actually used the tracks that they had purchased. They like downloaded the goods, but they still had the demo track, and they were using the demo track instead of the freaking hilarious.
Dude.
So like every 10 seconds or whatever in the track, it's all Audio Jungle or whatever it was.
Audio
at the
Jungle.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there was who was it? It was either Jake or Logan Paul. I don't know, one of those guys. He one of them did like a rap, or they did a song. It was like a rap tune or whatever, and like you can hear Pond 5 in the background, like every like 6 bars or whatever. It's so funny, and like I can't imagine that was on purpose. So it was so funny. People are like pointing it out.
Oh,
it's like if you
man.
work in music,
Right. You just instantly recognize it.
They ripped it. Come on, like you guys, you're like one of the wealthiest influencers on the planet, and you're just gonna rip this, man. That's just pathetic in my opinion.
Right? Dude, Danny, it was a pleasure having you again on the show.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was fun, as always.
If you want to drop a link one last time, you absolutely can.
Yeah.
Block 11, are you in here? I'm sorry, did we miss you? I thought I would. Oh, you guys added more. I can't today. Everybody who's still here, listen to these and give some feedback. Say good, constructive things to help people make these 3 tracks better. Maybe we'll have some time to listen to them on the flip, but I actually have to run into a session here. Otherwise, I'd be happy to spill over in time just a bit. Yeah, please, everybody give some listens to these guys. Who should we raid over here? Let's see who's up. Oh, it's like a little limited here. Let's see. How about, you know what? It's Friday, and I'm going for it. We're going to go back to shoes, and we're going to listen to some freaking deep cuts and keep this party going. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stay inspired. Make something really awesome. I will see you on the flip on Monday. We'll be making some more cinematic stuff on the sound effects side of things, and I appreciate you. Peace out,
guys.
See you on the flip.
Good hanging.